Welcome to Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil, the official Monster Jam podcast. My guest this week is now a two-time International Series champion. Is trying to make history by becoming the first Monster Jam driver to ever win two series in the same season. Let's fire up the Zenny Optical hotline. Go out to Louisiana to welcome in International Series champion Blake Granger. Blake, welcome back to Inside Monster Jam. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Thank you for having me, Scott. Looking forward to being back on Inside Monster Jam and ready to have some fun.
I appreciate it, man. Well, congratulations again, two-time International Series champion. That has a really nice ring to it because now that's how we have to introduce you, two-time International Series champion. How you feeling about winning it all over again?
Man, I'm feeling great. It was an absolute amazing season once again on the International Series. Getting to travel the world with, what I call family now. Our tour has been together for over 2 years now, and it's just been an absolute dream ride. Been blessed to be able to travel all over the place representing Megalodon, Toro Loco, and even Max D back at the beginning of last year. So it's been an awesome ride, a great time, and super blessed to be a two-time international champion.
You were the first champion to punch your ticket to Salt Lake City World Finals. We're going to talk about World Finals a little bit later in the show, but I do want to ask you now, winning a second International Series, which one has a little more meaning to it? Was it the first one and getting that first bid, or was it now this one because you came back and you meant business once again?
I think the first one's always going to be the sweetest, right? But I think the second one was more understood by the fans. We knew it was coming. The first one was a surprise, so a lot of people didn't understand it. They didn't, process that our international season doesn't quite run in conjunction with first quarter. So a lot of people were like, man, you only did one show. How did you win a championship? No, it actually started after World Finals the previous year and goes all the way through the next World Finals. So our international series is a lot different. I think people understand that now. And that second series title was definitely an awesome accomplishment also.
You mentioned being in different trucks, so Megalodon, Toro Loco, Max D. Obviously, Max D is where you won the first International Series. Do you have a preference as to what body you're running out there?
Man, I tell everyone, doesn't matter what body's on that truck. It's Monster Jam and my name on that ribbon board. And, no matter what body's on that truck, I'm representing myself. I'm representing Monster Jam. And I take passion in that. I want to go out there and be the best representative of all the above as I can. And, personally, Max D was a little tough to see out of, which I believe in my domestic past, it prevented me from being as good of a racer as I am now. I couldn't see things that I need to see when you're racing. But with time, getting the switch over to Megalodon, that's one of the trucks you could easily see out of. Same thing with Monster Mutt domestically, which I love. Toro Loco, same thing. It was almost impossible to see out that truck. I went to London last year and struggled in racing. I was clipping turn pods, wrecking in racing. Couldn't see where I was going, and trying to be fast and not being able to see is not a good mixture.
So you're just blaming the truck. That's why you hit the turn pause, right? It's just completely the vision points. Got it.
If you can't see them, you got to guess, and it's unfortunate when you're floored in 1,500 horsepower and you can't see what's coming around the turn. You just kind of got to hope for the best and stay in the throttle, and sometimes it bites you.
This year, a little different for you because last year you were committed strictly to international. This year you are international, plus you are on Arena Championship Series East, and we're going to talk about that chase for that championship separately. But was there any difference for you from a mental, stamina and health, physical health as well, as far as being able to go overseas, do these events, but also having to come back and do your domestic events as well?
And honestly, I would say no. It was almost actually an advantage for me. I was in Abu Dhabi for Christmas in Liwa, and driving a monster truck, 4 days before the Arena Series East started. So when I showed up to week one, I was ready to go. I was straight out of a truck, whereas a lot of the other drivers were, they went to Summit, they had the winter off, and they were coming in fresh and had to kind of reacclimate themselves with the truck. So I think that was a huge advantage. We started the first weekend and we won the first show, and we just started kind of taking control from an early point. And I think that was a huge deal because of coming off of that international tour. So it was a huge advantage for me. I wouldn't say it doesn't wear on me. I love traveling. I love driving Monster Jam trucks. So I'm always blessed. The bigger the schedule, the better.
So after World Finals, the International Series kicks off again. You were talking about the different schedules, so it's not concurrent to first quarter. You literally will kick off the 2025-26 international season after World Finals. Where are you going to go to start the season off?
Yeah, the end of August, we're going to kick off the new season in Singapore, somewhere I've always wanted to go. I'm super excited to get another season started. Hopefully, we can try to defend and be a three-time international champion. But this year is definitely going to be a lot tougher. You know, Charlie Palkin's moving up to Gravedigger. I'm going to be driving Megalodon, which I love. That truck is a huge fan favorite. It definitely gives you the support you need as long as you go out there and drive it. And it's you can see out of it, so that's a blessing. I'm excited to get to racing, and I think being in domestic this year, having these 18 weeks of driving is also continuously improving my skill, my driving, and we just keep pushing to be better as a person and as a driver. So it's I'm looking forward to it. But first, we got to get this Arena Series East championship, and then we'll start on international.
Coming up next, we are going to discuss Blake's quest for history. That is next on Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. Welcome back to Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. This week, I am joined by International Series champion Blake Granger. So we talked about the International Series, but you've got some business at hand right now, and that's on Arena Championship Series East. As I mentioned, you can become the first driver in Monster Jam history to win 2 series titles in the same season. First of all, how big of a deal is that for you to do something that no driver has ever done in Monster Jam's storied history?
Man, it's almost hard to put into words. You know, growing up, you know, I was a kid watching Monster Jam myself, and, you know, Tom Mintz and Dennis Anderson and all these guys are just out there, you know, just tearing up the trucks, having fun and winning all these championships. And, you know, us young guys and girls that are coming into the sport, there's not many things we can do to top that, right? Whether it's however many world championships Tom won, or Dennis or Ryan or Adam. And, you know, that's a hard feat to do. Everyone knows that. But to be able to have the opportunity to make history and get my name in the record books, which is something that no one can take away from me, that means a lot. You know, we all want to build a brand. We're all trying to represent Monster Jam and be the best athlete and driver that we can be. And to be able to accomplish anything like that, it's just an amazing accomplishment. And I never would have dreamed it would have been an opportunity, especially 2 years ago when I was going international and losing the domestic side. It was bittersweet. I ended up loving international. It was one of the best things that probably could have happened to my career with Monster Jam. I've become so much of a better person, a better driver, and then to bring all that back to a domestic tour and potentially go and win it and be the first 2-time champion. It's a dream come true, honestly.
You and I have talked before about this, both off air and on this show, about this constant, you know, want for respect, this constant battle to prove yourself, and the chip that you have had on your shoulder as a competitor. Now you had the opportunity to be on a domestic series again, which I know you wanted, and you have a solid shot to win it. As of right now, you haven't clinched, but all signs are pointing to that. So by doing this, do you feel like that is the ultimate way for you to have earned that respect from everybody? Not that you needed to before, because you have, but do you feel like that kind of quiets down a little bit of maybe the criticism that might have been out there?
You know, I think so for sure. And I think a big part of it is, you know, respect earned, not given. And not only that, my last name isn't, you know, Anderson or Mintz or any of the big names that are out there. So some of these names are a lot harder to impress than, you know, the young guns and all the ones that have started with me. You know, they saw me start from scratch, you know, pulling up to Monster Jam University and driving the truck like I've been doing it for 5 years whenever I just showed up, compared to some people that it might have took a little longer at MJU to get acclimated. And, you know, I was able to gain the respect of my younger peers and the people that work with me. But when you get to the stadium tours and the older drivers and the people that have been around for 15 years, you know, you're just another driver to them. They don't have any reason to respect you until you give them one. So that's something that I really wanted to prove last year, getting that opportunity on the Stadium Series when Tom was out. You know, we almost won in Jacksonville. We got close in Orlando. I was just a guy getting thrown in a truck, you know, and I think that's something that meant a lot to me. Was, you know, I wanted to earn that respect. I look up to a lot of those drivers because, once again, I was a fan growing up, and I've watched Ryan and Adam and Tom and Dennis and all these people since I was younger. So I've always been driven to be the best. My dad has literally pounded that into my brain since I was a kid. The only way to be successful is to go out there and get it. No one's going to give it to you. And that's just something that I've always had as a motto. So I think this year has definitely helped me elevate, you know, 2-time international champion, potentially winning a domestic series. First 2-time champion. I don't think anyone can take that from me, and that's hopefully a step in the right direction.
When you look at active drivers that have won a minimum of 3 series championships, you have Tristan England, you have Ryan Anderson, and you have Blake Granger among those names. So what does that mean to you to be, and Tyler Menninga as well, but what would that mean to you to have your name mentioned among the sports elites? Because all those guys are fighting for another series championship this year as well.
Right, man. Since day one, that's where I've always believed I belong, and I think that's the reason why we've been able to accomplish these things. You got to believe in yourself. You got to fight through adversity, even when you're down and people are against you. You got to still, get up every day and keep pushing forward, and that's what I've done. I've been through a roller coaster of things in my life, and every single one of those things has led me to this moment right here. And this moment is something that I'll cherish forever, something I'll never forget. When I'm 65, 70 years old, I'll be able to tell my grandkids, hey, even when things were tough, I believed in myself. I kept fighting, and it all paid off. I had, a great career. If it ended tomorrow, I could walk away with my head held high saying, we won championships. We got a World Finals championship. We got to travel the world, travel the country, driving Monster Jam trucks. What more could I ask for?
Well, now you have all of Dalmatian Nation on your side as well, man. So that's a huge fan base. I know you love Max D as well, but you get all of those polka dotted out fans that are in by the droves, by the thousands coming to see you. So I know that's got to feel pretty good. And now I'm going to ask you what you think should happen. Should you clinch 2 automatic bids, who do you think should get it? And to find out, you're going to have to stay right where you are, because that's next on Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. Welcome back to Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. I'm Scott Jordan. This week, I'm joined by International Series champion Blake Granger as we discuss his 2025 season. Before we talk about World Finals, I was talking about the polka dots. Did you ever think that you would be hoisting a series championship trophy drenched in polka dots?
And definitely not. And I'll be honest to you, I love saying this in some of my interviews, but the first time I walked out in that white fire suit, people laughed at me. And about 2 hours later, when that first show ended, no one was laughing anymore.
Yeah.
It's honestly insane how much I've enjoyed driving this truck, the fan interaction, the pit party lines. It truly is a fan favorite. You'd be shocked to know, the FCP guys are coming to me every weekend saying, man, we're selling out of all of your merch. It's working. Whatever Feld came up with this idea, I was definitely a little sour about it, but it's actually been a huge blessing, probably one of the best things for me, and I'm enjoying it.
So when you got the phone call that you were going to be driving a 12,000-pound dog, you weren't too excited right off the bat? Come on, man.
I'm not going to say I wasn't excited, but my dream is Max D, man. That's been all I've known since I've started. That's been my baby, with all respect to Tom. He was my idol growing up. So what better truck to drive than the one that I grew up watching do exactly what I love to do, and that's just destroy everything. So it was bittersweet, but I wouldn't change a thing now that I've experienced it.
Well, let me ask you that to follow that up. Do you think that Max D at this point should stay retired with Tom?
I mean, I think it's Tom's decision, and whatever his decision is, I fully stand behind it. Would I love to take it, bring it back, and go win this series championship in Max D? 100%. Would I love to go to World Finals and have another opportunity in Max D? 100%. I've traveled the world in it. I've seen the fan base behind it. I've traveled the U.S. in it. It's still a major popular truck. It's still well-respected and well-wanted around the world, and that's what should matter,
Yeah, I think it's definitely sorely missed in Monster Jam, as is Tom. All right, let's get down to business here. I teased this. You obviously, if you win the East Series, you can't compete twice at World Finals. You get one spot. So, Blake Granger, on the spot, who gets the other automatic bid if you get to?
I have 2 answers. I'm going to put them together for you, but my honest opinion, they've already announced me that I'm driving Monster Dalmatian at World Finals. And in my mind, that tells me that I'm taking my Arena Championship Series East bid, if we win it, of course. Which, if you look at the points, Charlie Palkin was 24 points away from taking me down on the international tour. Charlie Palkin is a legend of this sport. Who deserves more than another opportunity at World Finals than Charlie Palkin himself? So if I'm driving Monster Dalmatian, I believe Charlie Palkin should be that person. But it's also bittersweet to say that, because Tony Oaks is one of my best friends. He has driven his butt off this year on this tour. He's had his own issues. He's had some truck problems. He's had things that's held him back. So I would love nothing more than also to see Tony Oaks out there. He's never done the World Finals main event field. He's been here just as long as I have. He deserves it. It's a tough decision, but if it was my case, I'm fighting for Charlie Palkin. He's at the end of his career potentially, and who doesn't want to see Charlie Palkin out there one last time?
Well, and let's spin that a little bit, because how incredible would it be if we see Charlie Palkin take Excalibur for one more spin around the track, and maybe the Pagliarulos could let him borrow that. They unveiled the old paint scheme, and that truck just looked amazing. I would love to see Chucky get one more opportunity at World Finals in that truck. So that would be a bit of a nostalgia. I don't think anybody would oppose Tony Oaks going to World Finals. He's one of the most popular drivers in the sport, and another driver that's fighting for respect. Now, your World Finals last year did not go the way that you had hoped it would go. So now you have Monster Mutt Dalmatian there. Is it a different opportunity for you now that you have a truck that has been working for you in the best way possible all season long?
100%. Last year was honestly disappointing. I tried to fight for my international truck, which I understand they're international trucks, so it doesn't always work out. I didn't have my crew chief. I was thrown with 2 domestic crew chiefs, which are amazing guys. Hats off to them. They worked their butts off to try to do anything they could to make that truck work for me. But in all reality, every one of those drivers was showing up in their truck with their crew chief and 100% opportunity, whereas I was only given 50% of the opportunity I should have been given. And that rubbed me the wrong way, to be honest to you. But it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. All I am is a driver. I show up and drive, and that was my plan. I didn't care what truck I was in, who my crew chiefs were. I was going to show up and give it my all, as I always do. It didn't work out for me, but this year we're going in probably the best Monster Jam truck I've ever driven. This chassis is by far my favorite. Between the handling, the racing, the control, this truck is probably the best truck I've ever driven. So not only that, I'm bringing Tractor, my crew chief, with me, who, in my opinion, hats off, crew chief of the year. I've never missed any elements because of him. My truck's always tip-top shape. He's the best crew chief I've ever had. He's the most passionate. He's honestly almost an identical replica of me, but in a crew chief form. And you put me and him together, I think we're pretty close to unstoppable. And I look forward to actually showing up to World Finals with him this year.
So this year you'll get those same opportunities that were afforded to some other drivers that weren't on the International Series. But at the same time, Blake, it's also the caveat is it's put up or shut up time for you. So
Correct.
There are no excuses here. So does that put any more pressure on yourself? I know you are a big competitor. So are you putting a little more pressure on yourself based on what happened last year?
Man, as they say, pressure makes diamonds. And I live for these moments. I've wanted this for almost 10 years now with Monster Jam, and here it is. So pressure's out the door. Confidence kicks in. We know how to drive a monster truck. We've been doing it long enough. It's time to go out there and drive it. And, win, lose, or draw, who cares? I'm at the World Finals driving a Monster Jam truck in Salt Lake City, Utah. It doesn't even matter. I would love to win. I would love to hoist that trophy and bring it home to my family. But at the end of the day, I'm blessed to overcome all the adversity I've overcome and be able to just step foot on that floor in Salt Lake City and even compete and have a chance. That means enough for me. Goals accomplished. That's the Super Bowl for us. And who doesn't want to make it to the Super Bowl every year? So I'm ready.
Well, I look forward to seeing you in action there in Monster Mutt Dalmatian. That is next on Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. We are back with more Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. My guest this week is Monster Mutt Dalmatian driver Blake Granger, now a two-time in 2025 series champion. So, Blake, we've talked about the International Tour. You're going to embark again on that series and try to clinch your third straight series championship. Any thoughts before we wrap this up about heading over to Singapore and starting this incredible international tour once again for you?
This year, we're switching over to Megalodon and Toro Loco only, which is going to be a little different this year. But I've always dreamed to go to Singapore and have the opportunity to go drive a 12,000-pound Monster Jam truck in such a unique country. That's something I've been looking forward to for years, and that's something awesome about this international tour. It's taken me all over the world, and to finally go another place new, I'm looking forward to it, ready to start that next championship defense.
I know a lot of fans do miss the Max D property. I am one of those as well. And any thoughts on your memories in Max D, and any chance maybe we could see you bring this thing back, at least for the international fans at all?
Yeah, that's something we've had talks about. Nothing's really in line yet, but it's something that's really the only truck I've driven for my entire career, except for international the last few years. And what's really crazy to me is going international. the lines, the fans, it's actually still a major hit around the world. The fans want to see that truck. So it would be an honor to bring it back, represent Tom. You know, we won a championship domestically this year. Of course, I wish it could have been in Max D, but, you know, to be a two-time champion, history books, that's something that only Tom and Dennis and Adam and some of the best names in the business get to accomplish. So we're getting our name up there. We're trying our hardest. So I think hopefully one day we can bring that Max D back to the table and represent it for the fans.
Let's shift gears as we close it out and talk more on a personal level. You and I are dads. You know, we bond as fathers. Father's Day is approaching. How are you able to balance a work-life situation? Because you were on the road. You just finished off a domestic tour. You're heading back overseas, but you're a dad first and foremost, and I think that is our number one job, our number one priority. How are you able to balance that?
Yeah, definitely. I am super fortunate, man. I have an amazing support system back home. I have the best grandparents that you could ever ask for when it comes to taking care of the kids when I'm gone, picking them up from school, bringing them to school. And you know what's crazy is they have an amazing relationship with their grandparents. So they actually look forward to going there, spending time with them. And that makes life so much easier. You're not stressing to leave as much because you know they're taken care of and they're happy. You know, so that makes life a lot easier on us. And not only that, you know, having kids of my own, traveling the world or domestically, we can relate to the kids. You know, when you have kids of your own, and you're in that pit party, and whether it's a 3-year-old or a 10-year-old or even a teenager, which I have 2 of now, which is crazy to say, it's something that I can relate to all ages because I've been there, done that. I've got to hold my newborn, and I've got to sit there and go hang out with my teenagers. So I can relate to the kids, and that makes them feel so much better whenever they come up to you and you treat them as one of your own. And that's something about Monster Jam. You know, we are here for the kids. We're here for the fans. And that's something I take pride in. And it shows when judgeszone.com hits and that video board showing a 9 or a 10, it's not just your driving, it's your relationship with the fans. And that's what's helped me win that domestic championship this year.
We are up against the clock. I just need a yes or no answer here. You're a superstar to many different Monster Jam fans across the world. To your kids, are you a superstar or are you just dad?
I am just dad, for sure.
I love that, Blake. Thanks so much for being here, man. Best of luck overseas. Best of luck at World Finals. And all the respect to you for now being a 3-time series champion.
Thank you guys for having me.
You got it. Blake Granger, Monster Mutt Dalmatian, heading to World Finals. As for us, I'm heading to you next week with another brand new edition of Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil.